Thank you very much, Oscar, and you've asked me to speak first because you want me to set the standard of keeping within 10 minutes. I'm going to try to do that. I had originally come expecting to talk more generally about how the Toronto District School Board, as the largest, perhaps most diverse school board in Canada, addresses the issues of the underachievement of black students. But again, in the interest of time, I'll just address where we are at with the establishment of the Afrocentric Alternative School, which many of you may have heard about in the press. My position as Executive Officer for Student and Community Equity at the Toronto District School Board, as a senior executive member, is to lead that initiative until the school is established, at which point the principal and staff and community members will take it from there. The establishment of an Afrocentric school, of course, has not been something new. It has occupied community discussion for many years, perhaps over 20 years in Toronto, but only came to fruition as an implementable concept in the last year when members of the African Canadian community came to the Toronto District School Board with a request that such a school be established. And established under a particular policy of the board which allows for the establishment of alternative schools. Alternative schools describe particular learning environments that community members want to see that are different from the regular school environment. And under that policy, community members requested that the board establish such a school. Of course, those of you who have followed the debate about this are aware of the tremendous divergence of opinion, not only from the larger community of Toronto and perhaps Ontario, but even within the African Canadian community itself. And the larger community debate raised many issues which, quite frankly, were designed to derail this, to make it not happen, by raising issues of, for example, racial segregation and so on. And unfortunately, perhaps the unkindest cut of all is where members of our own community often bought into that argument in such a way that created the sense of community division around it. That is unfortunate. It is understandable in a sense, because of course the history of our struggle has always been accompanied by an internal dynamic in which people within our community have put forward these issues as a reflection perhaps of the denial of identity, denial of heritage, and denial of our right to assert ourselves as a people within mainstream institutions. So that's nothing new, that kind of internal contradiction, something we have to live with. Be that as it may, the Afrocentric Alternative School, where originally it was intended to address the needs of students at a middle school and perhaps secondary school level, is now going to be established as a school for the very young, from junior kindergarten to grade 5. The advantage of that, of course, is that we can begin to address already the systemic effects of racism and social injustice that impacts itself on the minds of the very young in our community. And so it provides a really unique opportunity for us as a community, with teachers, with the principal, parents, to begin to get at determining an environment that can work for kids at a very young age and give them a good head start towards their own empowerment in our society. The school will open in September of '09. The alternative schools in the Toronto District School Board tend, particularly those at the elementary level, tend to start with a very small, conservative number of enrollments. I say that because the detractors of this initiative expected that once the school was announced, that thousands of parents would be knocking on the door to enroll their children in the school. Now that may actually have happened if the students were older and could exercise independent judgment. But for a school that is established from junior kindergarten to grade 5, parents obviously have a lot of circumstances to think about, including, for example, transportation to the school. The students of the school won't necessarily come from the immediate neighborhood. And members of our community obviously have to travel and get their children to the school and pick them up. So these decisions are very complicated and parents have to think about that. Be that as it may, the enrollment's happening, well over 50, perhaps very close to 60 children already enrolled. We're shooting for 100 by school opening in September. The principal has not yet been hired. The principal will be hired from among teachers within the board who have had experience in communities where with the predominance of black children. Teachers also will be hired on the basis of their experience in this area, and that we hope that the school will be off to a good start. I want to end by saying one thing though. It would be a mistake if we think, as educators and as community members, that an Afrocentric school will immediately be the magic ingredient per se to resolve the issues of black student underachievement. We heard from Dr. Benjamin this morning about all the factors, social factors that are impacted by overall systemic societal racism that exist as impacts upon the ability of our children to succeed. And the teachers in the school with Afrocentric curriculum and so on are not going to be able to resolve those issues by themselves. It's a total community effort in which partners at the government level, as well as from the private sector, will have to come together in support of this school and its children to address all of the issues that impact the education of our children. And so the challenge is still before us. We're still conceptually dealing with this issue. So until the school is established and we begin to give definition to it, we won't all know what the possibilities are and what the realities of implementing such a concept in our mainstream culture is. So thank you for listening. I know that this really short circuits like years of discussion. Well, I think I'll wrap up now, but if there are any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.